Wales, Wales, Wales. The losing run goes on. 24-19 over in Japan after being up 19 points to 7 is pretty gutting. But that first half display from Wales was pretty bad. Japan were playing all the rugby in the second half. I watched this game right before watching the All Blacks game against France. In fact, because this game took so long to play with all the water breaks and extra long halftime and whatnot, this game still had 2 minutes to go by the time the All Blacks game kicked off. So sorry, this review is a little bit late, but yeah, Wales. This was a pretty good chance to get a win. Like, Japan are very much on a rebuild as well, but maybe those conditions took their toll on the Welsh players in the second half. The Japanese guys just started handling the ball a bit better. A little bit of a few different things, but yeah, that's a pretty disappointing result for Wales. Big up Japan, man. I don't mean to be a negative Nelly. I'm sure I have more Welsh viewers than Japanese ones, but if you're a Japanese rugby fan, that's a pretty good victory after, some recent tough times. But yeah, it didn't start well for Wales. We'll go through some of the key events and stats because Ben Carter had to go off, knocking himself out within a minute when he was going in for a tackle, head versus hip, and he gets himself, off the pitch. Took a long while to get him off, but fingers crossed he's all right, but he certainly took no more part in the game. Unfortunate one for him. Hopefully it's not too bad. But it was interesting to see Wales ambitious early because they had an early penalty. They were not opting for threes. They wanted to get some tries, and they were rewarded. Line-out move early on. Like, we get a try within 4 minutes from Wales. Well, nice, slick try as well. Line-out move. Falatau off the back. Pops it to Ben Thomas straight through a gap. Beautiful. 7 points to 0. Cracking start for Wales. And Wales were looking to play with width. That was quite easy on the eye, whereas Japan were conceding a few penalties. Yeah, they did have a few knock-ons, but they also managed to get it right as well. They managed to get a decent reply. It took them a little bit longer. It took 10 minutes later before Matsunaga, the fullback, who also went off injured not long after this try, he managed to finish off a pretty nice move as Japan were also looking to play with a bit of width. This new winger, Ishida, who Eddie Jones has been talking up as being, I think he used him in the same breath as Cheslin Colby. I think just comparing the fact that he's a small, kind of nimble, fleet-footed, attacking-minded winger. He's the guy who gives the final pass for the try assist. 7 points apiece. So far this game, I think it's pretty good value despite the conditions. It's a beautiful stadium there as well, overlooking, is it a river? Ocean? Yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty nice stuff. But it got a little bit ugly for Japan because Nakakasu, who's just come on for the injured Matsunaga, gets himself immediately both yellow carded and gives away a penalty try when he kind of bats the ball dead when Hardy puts a nice kick through for Josh Adams to chase. And to be fair, one area that Japan struggled with, particularly in the first half, was Wales' kicking game. And that one directly leads to a penalty try. I don't like penalty tries for that kind of stuff, but he did kind of get a hand to it, and that hand caused the ball to go out. So I don't know if you can have too many complaints. It's 14-7, and Japan are now down to 14 men. Wales immediately punished. This is what I'm talking about being pleasing stuff from Wales, to see them again. 14 men. Wales have a chance to attack early because from the restart against 14 men, the Japanese kickoff goes out on the full. Wide ball from the scrum. Tom Rogers over in the corner. Beautiful. Just 19-7. 19-7. It's looking like pretty happy times in Wales. That's the final score for Wales. No more points for the entire game. And we're only 22 minutes in. I was talking in the preview about Wales starting badly. Well, they didn't start badly. They started all right. They finished pretty badly, though. Japan did seem to go up again from there. Fakatava got held up. He was pretty close to scoring a try. The TMO ruled that there was not enough evidence, not enough compelling evidence to see that he grounded. He got pretty close if he didn't get it. And then the game kind of, I felt like, petered out a little bit because there were quite a few knock-ons. Wales got pinged at one point for not using it at scrum. time, Japan were really struggling with the aerial balls, but Wales's attack was starting to look a little bit more blunt. They would throw a few phases at the Japanese attack. They were getting pushed backwards. Costello eventually has to opt for a drop goal. He misses. The first half, after bang, 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 just kind of peters out. Halftime sheds, it's a 19 points to 7 lead. For me, the key one for Japan is that they've knocked it on, or they've had 9 turnovers conceded to Wales's 4. They've been not clinical with ball in hand, but Wales have had 69% possession. So they could potentially have been doing more. They've had 3 line breaks to 1, and they've kicked 18 times to 7. So it's the kicking game which has largely been winning them the territory battle and causing Japanese knock-ons. But in the second half, where's Wales? I have hardly anything to write about Wales in the second half, barring some like they shut down some Japanese attacks. Nicky Smith won a nice turnover. Was it Josh McLeod won another one? Like, those were quite nice defensive plays, but then eventually when they did concede a penalty, Wales, Japan managed to get some free territory out of that. They finally went through some phases without knocking the bloody ball on. I think 13 phases, which was pleasing because they'd not been able to do that in the first half. Lee, the number 10, with the offload and the tackle for Nakakasu, the guy who'd been yellow carded earlier on. Try time, 14 points to 19. Suddenly back to being game on, and it was almost a quick-fire double, if not for a forward pass from Cornelson to Gunter out on the left wing. That one got chalked off. Otherwise, you would have been in all kinds of trouble, Wales. Eventually, they go back for it because they had advantage anyway, and they opt for the 3, the Japanese, to make it a 2-point game, 17-19. And it's just still Japanese pressure. They end up getting the lead. It takes until the 70th minute, but they get their first lead of the game. Vailea is able to power over after close from a maul. And that's pretty much it. 24 points to 19. Wales did have an attacking chance in the last 10 minutes, but they lost their line-out ball. That was a kind of key moment. Japan's just able to run down the clock at the death. So hardly a shot fired in the second half from Wales. Remember how I said the line breaks at halftime was 3-1 in Wales's favour? It finishes 7-3 to Japan. Not a single line break generated in the entire half. Like, Wales win 5 turnovers to 1, but the possession numbers finish 47-53, which means Japanese possession was dominant in the second half. Like, in the final 10 minutes, it was like 67-33 to Japan. They had all the ball at the end of the game. Territory finishes pretty even, so proper game of 2 halves. Yeah, I don't know. I try to be optimistic at times. We run a Super Brew tipping competition. I picked Wales for this one by 1 because I wasn't confident, but I thought, man, Wales, they're due for a win. Maybe this is the time. This was not the time. Leach for Japan, 18 tackles, 10 carries. Leads from the front. Alex Mann had 17 tackles for Japan. Falatau had 14 carries for Wales. Fakatava had a bunch for Japan as well. Ishida, this new winger, a couple of clean breaks. Nakakusu, the replacement, he had a couple as well. Dewi Lake won a couple of turnovers. But yes, Wales will further drop in the world rankings, I believe, to 14th in the world after this result. Remember, they've still got a second game up against Japan to come, so they get another throw of the dice. But yeah, at 19-7 up, it was looking all peachy, and then it wasn't. So well done for Japan for coming back, and it is once again back to the drawing board for Wales. Didn't really fire a shot in the second half. You guys let us know your thoughts on the result. I'm off to bed, and then I'm going to watch a whole heap of rugby in the morning. You guys take care. I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.